Hi and welcome to Puzzle Pieces. In this episode I'd like to talk about Morse code. Now, Morse code is one of the most well-known and widely recognised systems for encoding messages. And as you probably know, in Morse code, letters and numbers are represented as a sequence of short dots and longer dashes, like this. Now, I've seen Morse code used in lots of escape rooms, but I think it's worth bearing in mind that just writing a message in Morse code is not itself a puzzle. There are people in the world that just know Morse code in the way that you'd know a foreign language, and they will be able to instinctively decode any message they see without thinking about it. But you certainly can't assume that players are going to know Morse code, so you're going to have to provide them with some sort of chart like I just showed you. And as soon as you've done that, well, that's not really a puzzle either then. That then just becomes a fairly manual, repetitive process of looking up the sequence of dots and dashes and writing down the corresponding characters. That's not fun. Now, that's not to say that Morse code can't be used as the basis of a puzzle, but I think it's best done in one of two situations. So the first situation in which Morse code can be used effectively is when it is consistent with the theming and the narrative of the story in which it's used. So for example, let's say you have an escape room set in the early 20th century and players actually have to intercept a radio telecommunications signal. Well, that would be authentic to be sent via Morse code. Or maybe your room is set in a more modern time, but one of the characters in it was a wartime radio operative who would have been familiar with Morse code and still uses it as a way to keep secret messages for themselves. And the second scenario is when the encoded Morse message itself is disguised or presented in interesting ways. And in this case, it's not so much the translation of the code that provides satisfaction to the player, it's the discovery that an object or an image or a sequence of events is conveying a Morse code message. So Morse code is a useful tool for puzzle designers. If it's appropriate to your theme, it can help develop the narrative and further immerse the player, and even if it's not, there's a wide range of different methods you can use to convey Morse encoded information. So through flashes of light or through sound, images, artifacts, video sequences, there's really an endless list. The only thing I would ask you to remember is that the satisfaction from Morse code really comes from its discovery rather than simply translating it character by character. So keep Morse code messages very short and that will keep players happy.